Imagine being so rich, so powerful, that your generosity could crash an entire economy. No, this isn't fiction. This is the story of Mansa Musa, the 14th century emperor of Mali and the wealthiest human being in recorded history. Yet most people have never heard of him. How did a man from West Africa amass more gold than kings, conquerors, and tech billionaires combined? And how did his empire, once a center of trade, learning, and vanish into obscurity? Today, we uncover the forgotten legacy of the Mali Empire and follow the rise of a man whose wealth and influence shaped the world in ways still felt today. This isn't just a story about gold. This is a story about vision, leadership, and a golden age buried beneath the sands of time. Welcome to the story of Mansa Musa, the richest man who ever lived. The rise of the Mali Empire. Long before Mansa Musa, West Africa was already home to great kingdoms. Among them, the Empire of Ghana dominated trade routes for centuries, becoming a hub for gold and salt. But in the 13th century, Ghana fell, and from its ashes, a new power emerged, Mali. Founded by the legendary Sundiata Keita, Mali began as a small kingdom that expanded through strategic alliances and military victories. Sundiata, often called the Lion King of Mali, united the Mandinka people and carved out a vast empire stretching across West Africa. Thanks to its prime location between the Sahara Desert and the rainforests of the south, Mali became a key player in trans-Saharan trade. Caravans traveled for weeks carrying salt, ivory, slaves, and most importantly, gold. By the time Mansa Musa came to power, the foundations of a golden empire had already been laid. But it was Musa who would elevate it to legendary heights. Mansa Musa wasn't born into power. His rise was both unexpected and remarkable. Around the year 1312, the reigning emperor, Abu Bakr II, set off on a mysterious voyage to explore the Atlantic Ocean and never returned. As his deputy, Musa suddenly found himself crowned Mansa, or Emperor of Mali. Little did the world know, this unassuming ruler was about to leave a mark on history unlike any other. Musa was a devout Muslim, a visionary leader, and an economic mastermind. Under his rule, Mali's territory expanded to include parts of modern-day Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Niger, and Nigeria. But what truly set Musa apart was his wealth, unimaginable even by today's standard. He controlled more gold than any ruler on earth, and his empire prospered through carefully managed trade, diplomacy, and religious unity. His reign was the beginning of Mali's golden age, and the stage was set for a journey that would shock the world. Mali's wealth wasn't just impressive, it was staggering. The empire controlled over half of the world's known gold supply at the time. And unlike today, gold was more than jewelry. It was currency, power, and prestige. Mali also possessed massive salt mines, especially in Taghaza, where salt was so valuable it was sometimes traded ounce for ounce with gold. Trade routes stretching across the Sahara funneled these resources to North Africa, the Middle East, and even Europe. In return, merchants brought textiles, horses, books, and other goods. Mali wasn't isolated, it was global. But this wasn't just raw wealth. Musa built systems to tax trade caravans, maintain roads, and keep order with a professional army. He turned natural resources into economic strength, and this wealth allowed him to do something no African ruler had ever done on such a scale: embark on a journey that would capture the world's attention, the legendary Hajj to Mecca. In 1324, Mansa Musa undertook his Hajj, the Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca. But this wasn't a quiet spirit journey. This was a royal procession the world had never seen. His caravan reportedly included 60,000 people, among them soldiers, slaves, musicians, and attendants. He brought thousands of pounds of gold, distributed freely along the way. Everywhere Musa went, from the desert towns to the thriving city of Cairo, he gave away so much gold that it caused massive inflation. In Cairo, gold lost value and the economy was destabilized for over a decade. European and Arab writers couldn't stop talking about this African king. Maps began featuring Mali, and Mansa Musa's fame spread across continents. But this pilgrimage wasn't just about wealth. It was also about forging political alliances, spreading Islam, and attracting scholars, architects, and artists to Mali. It was one of the greatest PR campaigns in history, and it worked. When Mansa Musa returned from Mecca, he brought more than gold, he brought ideas. He invited architects from Egypt and Andalusia to design grand mosques, palaces, and schools. The most famous, the Djinguereber Mosque in Timbuktu, built in 1327 and still standing today. Musa transformed Timbuktu into a center of Islamic scholarship. The Sankore University became a hub for learning, rivaling any European institution of its time. Thousands of manuscripts on medicine, law, astronomy, and philosophy were written and preserved. Mali became known not only for its riches, but also for its wisdom. Students and scholars from across Africa and the Islamic world traveled to study there. For Mansa Musa, power wasn't just measured in gold. It was measured in knowledge, culture, and faith. And during his reign, Mali became one of the most advanced civilizations of its time. Mansa Musa died in 1337, leaving behind a legacy of wealth, wisdom, and power. But empires rarely stay at their peak forever. After his death, the Mali Empire began to unravel. His successors lacked his charisma and strategic mind. Internal rebellions, poor leadership, and the rise of rival kingdoms like the Songhai Empire slowly chipped away at Mali's dominance. Trade routes shifted, and attacks from outside forces weakened the empire's structure. By the late 15th century, Mali had lost much of its influence. Timbuktu was sacked, and the empire faded into obscurity. And so, a civilization that once dazzled the world with its gold and culture slowly disappeared from the global stage, its story buried beneath centuries of neglect. Today, Mali is a modest country with a proud heritage, but few know the magnitude of what it once was. Mansa Musa's wealth is still estimated to be worth over $400 billion in today's terms, more than Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Warren Buffett combined. But his real legacy isn't just money, it's what he built. A peaceful empire united by trade, faith, and education. A civilization where scholars thrived, architecture flourished, and the name of Africa echoed across the world with pride. In a world that often forgets African greatness, Mansa Musa stands as a shining reminder that Africa was, and still is, a cradle of kings, culture, and innovation. Let us not forget the Empire of Mali. Let us not forget the richest man in history.